right, what's up, guys? So we're gonna make a video um, regarding the coaches meeting instead of doing it live. This is probably easier for everybody, including myself and Wired too. So Wired is joining me. You'll hear his voice, but yeah, we're gonna cover some topics that we wanted to cover at the coaches meeting just to make sure everybody's squared away. Like I said, there will be a code word in this meeting that you will have to report to us, just so I know you watched it, because we don't want questions that we're already covering in here. So. Let's get started. New coaches, welcome. We're excited to have you guys. Season 3 is looking to be really fun. We announced last night that we're starting our high school mod this upcoming season. So there's a lot to look forward to, beginning with the transfer portal opening on Thursday. We'll start with the transfer portal. So today actually, I'm giving coaches a little bit of time to look at their roster sheets and get back to me if there's any more transfers based on their cap or whatnot. You will have a transfer portal list by tonight, and it will say the name and the archetype and the year of the player. Okay? What it won't tell you is their overall. It won't tell you how many cap points are spent. Okay? That is your job as a coach to ask them in recruiting what their overall is. Transfers can tell you what their overall is. Recruits cannot. Okay? We will cover that again when we get to the recruiting part for blue chips and red chips and greens. But transfers can tell you it's the only way that we can ensure that we are leveling the playing field that way. So when you are recruiting somebody that you're interested in, you need to ask what their overall is. Okay, they have it, and if they don't have it, they can get it from us. Okay, we'll probably send all the recruits or the transfers their overall prior to sending you guys the list. But when you guys are recruiting them, when you're in conversation, you need to ask them. Okay, you guys all have coaches sheets. They have the point totals on there for the cap, relevant to what overall they are. So you guys should be able to do the math. We're making this really easy on you guys this year. Everything is in front of you, okay? So you don't have to ask questions anymore about what's my guy's overall. That thing will be updated. As we've already done this in past years, it was just not public before. It will be updated. As packs are being added, that thing will be updated. Wired, anything else to add to the transfer part?
Yeah, I just want to say you guys don't need to. I mean, listen. Obviously, if you're interested in every specific transfer out there, feel free to recruit them. But I wouldn't go running to every guy and go, "What's your rating? What's your rating? What's your rating?" You know, you guys have watched the games, you've scouted, you've seen them, the games that they played. You should have an idea of the type of player or the player and how they fit into your system, and if you want them. I mean, we don't really necessarily want you going to every single guy and asking that, but should you be interested in doing that, the availability to do that is there. What we just ask is that whatever you find out from those specific recruits, you keep that to yourself. That's only one thing that I will add on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're trying to make this as honest as possible. So, like Wired said, recruit guys that you're interested in. I mean, obviously, there's a way around doing that, and asking everybody's overall. It is what it is. But that's up to you guys to go out and do that. If you guys aren't being active coaches, it's not going to be done for you. You're probably not going to get some of these recruits. And I'm telling you, some of these recruits are going to be program changers. So, or these transfers, sorry. Some of these transfers are going to change your program. But yes, you will have the archetype and what year they are, as well as the player name and their Discord name. That will be given to you tonight. And transfer portal will open on Thursday upon mine and Wired's announcement, or Wired, one of us will make an announcement on Thursday stating specifically that the transfer portal is now open. That means you can have open communication with the transfers. Okay, they cannot announce their decision until Monday. Wired, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say one other thing. Approach these guys the same way you would approach prospects, in the sense that, like, woo them. I mean, these guys are going to want to be wooed to your team, not just come join Joe and I because we're a 90 overall. No, like, do your job, do it the right way. I mean, these guys want to be schmooze them the right way.
Yeah. Okay, so that pretty much covers the transfer part. It'll open on Thursday upon announcement. Monday they will announce at 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe it says on the schedule. They can start announcing their decisions on where they're going to play next year. And your rosters will be updated accordingly as those announcements come in. Do the math in your head, guys. You guys have the roster sheets in front of you. Do not go over your recruiting cap. Okay, you're going to piss people off if you do that.
The key is the recruiting key, and what, like, the point totals are. They're all on your roster sheets. It's all there for easy access, so you don't have to ask us, what's this range, what's that range. It's all there.
Yep. Yep, good point.
Right, like to Tyler's point, we tried to make it as easy as possible for you guys.
Yep. All right, moving on to regular recruiting. Recruiting will start next Friday. I believe it's next Friday. I check the schedule again. But I think it's Friday. So upon announcement next Friday, it'll be blue and red recruiting. We split up blue and red. We split up blue, red, go at the same time, and then we split them up from green so that the greens don't get buried. I've noticed that when we do recruiting here and other leagues with everybody at the same time, greens often get forgot about. So we split that up on purpose. So next Friday will be blue and red recruiting. And then after that, check the schedule. It's on there. Green recruiting will be at a different time. So it's going to be the same as the transfer portal. There will be an announcement stating that blue and red chip recruiting is open, and that will culminate on National Signing Day for blue and red, whenever it says on the schedule. I believe it's Monday. Difference here is you cannot ask their overall. Some of these guys have packed up. They don't even know their overall. We will not tell them their overall. Okay, we will not tell recruits what their overall is until they sign with the team. Okay, you cannot ask them if they've already bought packs. Okay, everybody needs to go into this as a fair game. Okay, you guys need to scout the McDonald's game. You need to scout the player profiles. You will get a profile sheet. Okay, you will get a prospect list, the same as you get a transfer portal list. It'll say their Discord name. It'll say their position, their archetype, their name, and what chip they are. Okay, so everything's there for you. You guys need to scout based on what you need and recruit accordingly. Okay, you cannot, again, I can't emphasize this enough, you cannot ask them if they bought packs, and they cannot tell you that they've packed up. Okay, that will be made known to prospects as well. Don't make us enforce these rules. We want this to be as lenient as possible, and as fun as possible, but we really need this league to be, honor system from all of you guys. That's the only way this thing works. But yeah, so that'll start next week on Friday with blue and red, and then green will follow that after. Do not talk to greens until the greens are open. Wired, anything with that?
Yeah, I was just to say, just realize that blues and reds and greens, the points values when you're recruiting prospects, because you don't know whether they've packed up or not. Mm-hmm. You're approaching it as if they are base whatever arcs. They are valued out for their base arc for recruiting purposes only. If they happen to be over and above, then they're over and above after the recruiting period is over, and that's when your full numbers will be revealed to you. So just go into it knowing that, like, hey, I have room for 3 blues. Okay, I'm going to go recruit 3 blues, and those are the 3 blues that I get. You've met your cap, and you're there.
Yeah.
One of those guys packs up to a 99. Let's just say you will be over your cap, but you won't know that until you're in the season, and you'll have to make adjustments for next season.
Yeah, we'll cover the whole cap here in a second. That's a great point. So blues are 2, reds are 1.5, and greens are 1 as a value. Again, you guys will not know their overall. Guys, recruit based on activity. I'll tell you this right now. Insider trick, recruit based on activity, okay? Recruit out the guys that are in the chat being hyped. These guys are going to buy in. I guarantee it. It happens every single year, okay? Very rarely do we get a guy that's in there chatting and is just, the most active guy that doesn't buy into the league. It just doesn't happen. Okay?
We had three guys last night chip up to blue.
Yep.
Already just from chatting in the chat. So.
Yep. From our show last night, plus that, they've already upgraded. So, and the more active you guys are, the more these guys might chip up. I'm telling you right now, there are 22 blue chip recruits. 2 of those are coaches. So there's 20 blue chips out there for you guys to go get right now. Okay. I would like more. Okay. So be active. So get some of these guys to chip up. But yes, guys, also second thing, scout the McDonald's game, scout the JUCO game. Okay. Wired, if I'm not mistaken, some of these guys will be upgraded during the McDonald's game, right?
I believe so. Yes. I think that was our plan.
Yeah. So we will be adding packs for the McDonald's game. So scout the McDonald's game. You will notice a difference between a good player and a base player if you really watch. Okay. That's important. Okay. We're not going to do the work for you. You guys are coaches. This is part of the experience, part of the recruiting process. Do the work yourselves and, build a program. Okay.
I will add one other thing here, since we're talking about blues, reds, and greens from a green perspective too. And I know Tyler just said, these guys, the more active you are, the more they are. There's a chance they'll pack up. They could during the season go from a green to a blue. So if you keep them engaged, certainly keep that in mind because a lot of times that has. I mean, I remember and saw a lot of guys last season upgrade mid-season because their locker rooms were active. Saw other locker rooms that were not active, and those greens either left the server or they just stayed as greens and they didn't do anything and barely were a part of the league. The one other thing that I will mention to you is that greens are a huge part of your roster. I cannot emphasize this enough. With the salary cap, with the cap,
yeah.
The recruiting cap, those greens are going to be vital for you to be able to fill out your roster. And the one other point, and I don't know where in the agenda Tyler is going to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up now. You want to make sure and understand that once the recruiting period this season is over, you cannot sign players mid-season. So we have about, I think, around 70 prospects, give or take. I'd say at least 2/3 to maybe half are greens. So knowing that, just based on the math alone, you're going to need these greens to fill out your roster, and they are vital, important pieces of your roster because otherwise you're going to get stuck with base players that are 62 overall. So a 67 is a lot better than a 62. Just keep that in mind.
A lot better. As you saw in the championship game, Dustin Allman is a 67 overall. You had 15 points in the championship game. Okay.
Great point, by the way.
Yeah, that's just one of many that I've seen, but that was probably the biggest one. But yeah, I mean, I know that for a fact, looking at the caps, that there are teams that can only take greens. Okay, they have 7 roster spots and they have 3 points available. That means they get 3 greens, or they play with a walk-on. You know what I mean? So roster construction is very important, but these greens are almost more important too. So look at that. Go ahead.
I was saying we want the greens to be on teams. We don't want guys just what do you call it, dwindling in the wind, whatever the terminology is. Like, we don't want them just hanging in the wind, waiting for somebody to take them. And at the end of the season, like, hey, I'd rather run 7 guys with 3 base players and not take these greens. We want these guys to be on teams. We want them to be active. We want them to invest in the league, invest in you. It only makes the league better by investing in them. Listen, there are going to be greens that are going to just say, see you later. I mean, it happens. It happens every season. But at the same time, the percentages tend to be in our favor for guys that commit versus not.
Yeah. And there's enough recruits out there to fill these rosters, guys. There should not be walk-ons in places of greens. Okay, it's just not going to happen. Okay, if I have to, I will place greens on your team. Okay, I don't want to do that, but if it comes to it and they're just sitting there, I will place them on teams. Okay.
Yeah, don't make us be those. Don't make us go there.
I don't want to do that, but it's up to you guys to make this league what it is. Okay. As far as recruiting goes, that's it. I will give a code word right now. Your code word is McDonald's. Okay. Please DM that to me or Wired. I need to know that you guys watched this video and that it's only going to be 20 minutes, guys. 20 minutes out of your day. At least listen to it. The code word is McDonald's. Message that to me or Wired so that I know you watched this. Okay. If you didn't watch this video, we will make sure we make a note of that for sure. Because I guarantee there's going to be more people interested in coaching next year. What else? Cap stuff. Let's talk cap. So, recruiting cap, just to be clear, 30 points is your recruiting cap right now for this season. This could change, okay? We reserve the right to change this at any time after the season. From season to season, we reserve the right. If this is too low and we're getting every team hitting 30, then we will raise it. If 3/4 of the team are at 15, we're going to lower it, okay? So, we're doing what's best for the league right now by doing a recruiting cap. You cannot go over 30 points during recruiting. Okay, you can't go over. Okay, so manage your cap. Okay, you guys need to keep a list somewhere of who you're recruiting, who you're offering. Do not just go and offer every single player. Okay, because you're gonna piss some people off when you say, "Oh, I can't take you now." Like, people don't want to hear that. And honestly, in the past, me coaching here and other leagues, I've had people. I've heard of people that did that in their first year in the league, and then they were stars their next time when they created a player, and they just didn't talk to those schools. So don't shoot yourself in the foot. Manage your cap, manage the recruits, but you cannot go over 30. Okay, if you're at 30 and you have 8 roster spots, guess what? You get 2 walk-ons. That's how it is. Okay, so manage that. We know that we are fully aware of the loopholes Okay, do not be the guy that brings a friend in the league as a green and then upgrades them to a blue right after. When you're at 30, do not be that guy. We will figure it out, and we don't want to do that. Okay, like I said, we're pretty lenient. We want this place to be really fun, but it's also very dependent on you guys and being honest and making it what it is. Okay. But like I said, me and Wired are fully aware of every single loophole that is possible in this whole system. We've talked about it um, for days. Okay, so just don't be that guy. Anything else, Wired, on that?
No, I think you're on point there. I think the one thing just in regards to the cap. Listen, we understand that it could get to a situation where you're like, oh shoot, I took blah blah blah. He was a 2 point player, and I really needed to take three, whatever. I mean, listen, shit happens.
Be honest.
Just be honest. Listen, if that ends up being the situation, it ends up being the situation, and you have to take a base. You have to take a base. We'll figure that out. But we don't want to be in a situation where you're like, hey, I'm at 33. I fucked up. Now what? Now what do I do? Like, no. You guys got to do the math. If you're at 29 or 30, and you have an extra roster spot, and it has to be a base, it has to be a base. But just remember, if I'm not mistaken, the base players also have half a point to them. So technically, you would be over. So you got to remember, even though there's a roster spot there, a base player that's filling it out has a rating. You have to keep that in mind. Oh wait, maybe I can't sign that 3-point player when I have.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I have whatever amount of points left and number of roster spots. You have to figure it out.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Wired. So like you said, if you're at 29.5 and you have 2 roster spots available, something's wrong, right? Okay. If you're at 29.5, you should have 1 roster spot available. That's it, or none. Okay. So do the math in your head. If you guys need help with it, let us know. We will answer questions for sure. But we also don't want to be answering questions that we're already covering on really easy stuff, such as the ranges of the cap points per the overall, since that's all in front of you.
Yeah, we're here to help, but at the same time, we don't want to have to do your job for you, as well. There's 30 teams, 30 coaches. That's a lot of help if we have to provide it. So we want to try to keep it to a minimum. That's the reason for this video and this meeting.
Another thing, coaches, playbooks this year are unrestricted. Okay, you can choose whatever playbook you want. You can drop it week to week. It's been a lot of work managing one playbook and seeing we've had so many questions like, is this playbook available? Some guys don't have the game. It's just easier this way, okay? And the second part to that is now you can really define your system the way you want it, okay? Like I said yesterday, Zach likes to run the 5-out stuff. There's only a few books that have that. If someone else picked those 3 books, his program would really be shit, okay? So we wanted to open that up and give guys free access to run the system that they want to run. Okay, there's no books that I'm aware of that are OP. Okay, that's just not a thing in 2K. It doesn't work that way. Okay, it's gonna fit your system. I've made a playbook video that did not upload on YouTube. I need to upload it and send it to you guys. But there are resources out there that show you the playbooks for this year and whatnot. And if you absolutely need to ask questions about playbooks, let me know.
The other thing I'll chime in too. The good thing about having the ability to switch from your playbook to week, and you don't have to post it in Discord. It'll just be with your submission.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to track it. But what the good thing about it that it gives coaches another dynamic to strategize.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a playbook that fits that might be maybe you're playing Kentucky and you want to make sure you use X playbook to offset what you think might be a good strategy to run against my team. Okay, I'm going to switch to that playbook. Next week, you know what? I'm playing Michigan State. I'm going to switch to this playbook. You have that luxury. It gives you the strategy. It may not necessarily be realistic, but I think with the amount of teams that we have and so everything that Tyler just basically covered, I think what that allows us to do or allows you to do is to have that one additional strategy at your fingertips.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're trying to make this as user-friendly as possible. But I mean, like I said, it's what you guys make of it. We have 30 coaches this year, 30 programs. Wired and I are doing a ton of back-end work and leg work. We're doing these for a reason, to give you guys to be the point of contact for your players, just because we have so much work to do already that if we're taking time to answer every single question, we're going to get behind. Okay, so just be that guy, be the point of contact for your guys, and be the liaison for your players. And if you absolutely have questions, ask us. other things from a coaching perspective. We got a couple minutes here. As far as recruiting goes, be creative, guys. Be creative. That's my one tip. Okay. If you guys aren't great at graphics, you don't have to be great at graphics. Make something. Okay. Go on Paint and do something stupid. You know what I mean? Just put some effort towards it. Okay. Write a letter. Write a letter is the easiest thing ever. You can import an image as a letterhead and write a letter. Okay. You don't have to be the best graphic artist, video editor in the world. Note that there will be some guys that probably go to those lengths. It is what it is. Okay. But show effort. Okay. Nobody is going to come into your school when you go, hey, Mr. Smith, come to my school. We want you. I'm not going to your school, okay, because I guarantee somebody else gave me a better pitch, okay? So it's up to you guys to build your program, and if your program's suffering, okay, I guarantee it's from two things. You're not recruiting well enough, and you being inactive. That's the only two things that are going to keep your program from succeeding, okay?
And just remember, we have access to the locker rooms. We can see what's going on. So what Tyler is saying to you right now is like, we've seen the programs that are active. We've seen the programs that have taken that extra step and have done those things in the things that they're doing. And by doing so, those programs have been successful. And I also will say, Google is your friend. The DeepSpark Web has a lot of amazing images. You can use that to your own abilities and in any way, whether it's just literally copying and pasting, something in your recruitment pitch, or if you have the skills to do the Photoshop or any of those other programs. There are some free programs, and if I'm not mistaken, Hunky Dory shared something that he used for another league
on his phone.
I shared that in the the coaches channel. I think I even pinned it, so you have the ability to go to there and use that. It's a phone app. I pasted two pictures of two things that he used in his thing. That should give you an idea. Go get the app. Use that to your advantage. There are tools. There are things here that are super simple that are at your fingertips. Maybe some people don't have Photoshop, but there are tools here to make and do whatever you can. And we've seen coaches that have been able to do that. And at the same time, they've also gotten guys on their team who have been able to help, who have been able to say, hey, look at this. I'm going to use one of the new prospects, Craig Edits. He's helped the league in general, just giving us graphics, and Tyler and I are both good in Photoshop. So utilize your team too. There are people on your team that can help. It's not just you. You're not out on an island by yourself.
Yeah, that's a great point too. In terms of recruiting, I would recruit Craig Edits, by the way. You got to look at stuff like that, right? You got to look at guys. You got to look
for his graphics alone. He brings something else to your team.
Yeah.
He may not. He may be a green, but look what he brings to your team. Who knows? Maybe he goes out and gets you a Mike Coco. I don't know.
Could be. But yes, there are phone apps, easy to use. I know multiple people use them. Snapseed is one of them. I forgot the other one. Guys, if you have any Word on your computer, Microsoft Word, if you have Pages on Mac, guys, it's so easy. Half the graphics I make that you guys see on these shows are from Pages on Mac. I'm not like the best Photoshop guy in the world. You can literally drag a picture on your Pages and type over it. It's so easy, okay? But yeah, so just put forth an effort. Guys will go to crazy extents. When Wired was being recruited by me in another league, I called his ass. Okay, so I literally did phone calls to recruits. So guys are going to get creative.
I kid you not, it was probably the best recruiting pitch I've ever had. I didn't go to his school, but it was still one of the best ones I have told him this time and time again. Nobody ever did that with me. He actually made it like a sit down, which was awesome.
Yeah. And it's up to you guys to make it as real as possible. Look at a lot of these guys that are in this league are here for a reason, right? They want to, whatever it is, relive their childhood. They want to make up for the childhood they didn't have. Maybe some of them weren't the most athletically gifted, but they dreamt of playing in college. That stuff is real, guys. I know this is a league full of fake players, quotation marks, but some of these guys are really invested in this thing. So, if you were being recruited, put them in your shoes. You would want to be wowed. So do that to them as well. So
think of it as in real life. What do they do in real life? They you take you to the campus. They give you a campus tour. They give you a tour of their facilities. Maybe they bring it. I'm sure everybody here has seen He Got Game. Right? He Got Game where he brings.
They don't bring in hookers. Sorry.
Right, well, that they're not doing. But hey, listen, maybe they get up to the front row and he sits down and he throws on the highlight reel of Jesus Shuttlesworth and the whole thing, right? We can't do that. So this is your way of kind of actually doing that by doing the graphics and all the other fun stuff.
Yeah, I want to be wild this year. So somebody show me something that I have never seen before, and I've seen a lot. Last thing, if you guys want to remain head coach and you know that you have some time obligations coming up, get an assistant coach. I cannot stress this enough. Cut Life's got an assistant coach now who I guarantee is going to be really good for that program. Jaden Patterson, very active player. Get an assistant coach. Okay, those coaches can
We
recruit for
prefer
you.
it.
Those coaches can recruit. Yeah, I actually prefer every program have an assistant coach. Okay, those coaches can recruit for you. If we have a situation last year with one of our coaches who had COVID and couldn't coach for a while, that's what we have an assistant coach in place for. Okay, someone that can step in and run your program, so we don't have to go search mid-season and transfer guys and stuff. So get an assistant coach. They can do everything that you guys can do. Okay, they can recruit. They're doing an extension of you. They can do graphics. They can submit game plans. Right. So
Make a
um,
Twitter account.
yeah. So like I said, get an assistant coach. Be involved. Make an effort to recruiting. We covered the cap. We covered the portal. Wired. Anything else?
I say just make a Twitter account too. That's another cool thing to do. Just be,
That's just
you know,
another
really.
thing of activity. Yep.
We're trying to push the social media aspect of the league too, which make we want the players that we would hope to have everybody get have players, and it just makes it more realistic and fun for everybody. And listen, I understand. I have a full time job. I'm not able to. Well, I did have a full time job, but
No, another one soon.
but I hopefully have one soon. So I have a full time job. I mean, listen, I get you can't be on Discord 24/7. But just be accountable. Listen, to check in once or twice a day is not a huge ask. I don't think. Find 10 minutes. Listen, everybody here takes a dump, right? Bring your phone into the crapper and look at Discord. I mean, I do it all the
Seriously.
time. I know that's kind of gross, but at the same time, like truth, like, we got 10 minutes to kill.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
And yeah, and anyway, and the more you guys create buzz in your locker rooms, the locker room will be active for itself. Like you don't even have. Wired and I are at a point right now in league chat where we realize that we don't have to be in there 24/7 because there's so much buzz all the time now. Okay, in season 1 and 2, like we were constantly in there trying to get activity up, but now it's to a point where we're feeling good about the activity that's going on in there. Your locker rooms need to be the same ways. Okay, when I was a coach, I asked my players to check in once a day or once every 2 days. Like I need to see that they're there, and that creates activity. Activity directly translates to winning. I guarantee if I did some research project on how the active locker rooms plus in the winning teams, it would be almost a direct translation. Okay, activity creates competition. Okay, so that's all I got. Wired. Anything else to cover?
No, I mean, listen, I mean, you guys are the front line for us. We just ask that you do all that you can possibly do. And listen, if you're struggling, to what Tyler said, we really want, bring on an assistant. You can have guys in your team that are not assistants still help you with stuff. Like, don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's just on one or two guys. Ask guys for input. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I didn't get a chance to see, Michigan State last week. How'd they do? Did, we play them next week? Does anybody have any, scouting tips? Like, the more involved you have your locker rooms, the more help you're going to get running your teams, and it's not always going to just feel like it's always on you. It will take some of that pressure off you. At the same time, you're the guy that's the head of that school, so like you have a vision, you have some things that you want to do, but bring your team along for the ride. These guys once they're in the locker rooms, beyond watching the games, they don't have a lot of things that they have to do, which is great. It's a great part of the responsibility of and funness of what our league is about. But at the same time, like you listen. I've asked my guys for help. I am sure Tyler has asked his guys. I know he's a basketball guru in himself, but has played college ball. But at the same time, he's asked his guys what I know he's done that personally. So the more active and engaged your locker rooms are, and you can get these guys involved. I know there are one or two teams literally every week. There's an ongoing conversation
Mm-hmm.
about it. About what the strategy is, how they're going to be implemented. Hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you guys think, etc. Like, listen, I'm not saying you have to do that every week, but listen, it makes it exciting for everybody. It makes them feel more part of the process. It makes them feel more involved. And then it's not necessarily just about, hey, I'm just going to tune in for the game. Because what ends up happening is if you guys are not active, league chat dies.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot express it. Viewership dies. Then I'm not pinging you 800,000 times. Come everybody, come into the stream. Come into the stream. Like there's nobody here. Like what's going on? Like the more you help us, the less I will have to ask for help from you. I mean, I think it's just it's kind of common sense to some degree. I think so. Just I asked that, and Tyler asked that of you guys. Just put in the effort wherever you can. There are some coaches I hear that I know are very, very, very quiet, and I'm hoping for season 3 that changes in those programs because they suffered for it.
Yeah, get a loud assistant if you're a quiet head coach, right?
Yep,
So.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's important. And then obviously, if you have questions, issues, concerns, anything, my door is always open.
Yeah.
Tyler's door is always open. Do not be afraid to approach us if you have an issue, a question, something. Listen, do we want to be bothered with 27 million questions a day? No. But our door is open. Listen, you have a problem, something's bothering you, you have a suggestion, whatever, throw it in the suggestions, thing if you don't want to necessarily bother us, and we'll get to it when we can get to it. Sometimes there are things that we're looking at that we've already know the answers that we wanted to do. We've looked at it. We can't. I know there's a handful of suggestions that have been thrown out there that, guys have want to do for the league. We can't always do everything. As much as we want, we don't have the help. But this is another piece to the puzzle too. Last season I had 22 guys say to me they wanted to help with league stuff. They all went into the stats room to help. 6 of those guys did stats. The other, whatever the number is, whatever the difference is, didn't do shit. Kid you not, this is an opportunity for you guys to help the league, maybe earn some CSBA credits, especially if you've got guys that are green. Like, encourage them, like, hey, go take a job. Like, you don't have the money, and I know there are guys that don't have money. Maybe they're younger, or maybe for whatever reason they don't want to invest the money or can't invest the money for whatever reason. This is an opportunity for them to earn potential money down the line to help us, which just makes our jobs so much easier. And then we have more time to devote to you guys, give you that extra content. Spend the time taking next steps and saying, okay, we're gonna expand. We added high school, right? We're adding high school now. Like, look at that. That's one little additional thing. You guys want more of all this extra stuff, but we can't do it without the help. So, so help us help you, and vice versa.
Cool. I think that's all we got, guys. Any other announcements will be made in coaching announcements, so make sure that you guys have notifications on for that. At least for that, you know what I mean? If you guys want to turn notifications off for everything except for like the you got like when we ping you guys, like, please do that. That's fine. But we need you guys to have at least notifications on for when we're pinging coaches or whatnot, or your team. So have those on for us.
And if you can alert your team, like, hey guys, try to tune in if you can. Like, whatever encouragement you can give to your locker rooms, please do.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we're trying to get viewership up. We're doing a really good job right now for where we're at. But if we can get it even more up, obviously every Twitch person wants to be partners. So if we can get to that level, it's going to open so many doors for us to do other things. We won't have to deal with stupid ass heavy traffic time, lag and stuff. So like Wire said, help us help you, and we're gonna continue to make content and make this league the best sim league that you guys have ever seen. I feel very confident that we're on our way doing that if we haven't already. But yeah, like I said, just keep doing it, keep the good work, be the leaders, be the frontline guys for this league. We believe in all 30 of you guys, 29 because I don't believe in Wired. No, I'm just kidding. Wired's a coach too, but be the frontline guys, and just help us, and let's make this thing big. I know I said 20 minutes, took it over about 14 minutes, but some important stuff. But be on the alert for the announcements. We'll be making a couple more announcements in the coming days regarding a couple things, so stay tuned for that. But thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you send the code word to me or Wired. It's in this video somewhere. I'm not going to tell you where. But
by the way, code word number 2 is supersized. I'll add that in there. So now they got 2 code words. Now that we know that we watched both.
Yeah, now they can just fast forward to the end for one of them, though. I'm so smart. I put it somewhere else in the video. Anyway, all right, guys, take it easy. Have a good one. Any questions, let us know.